If you have been feeling that no matter what, no matter how many accomplishments, no matter how many achievements, no matter how high you rise, no matter how much power you attain, no matter how much status, finances, relationships, if you feel like you have all of this, but you still don't feel happy, this video is for you. And by the way, you're not the only one. This is actually very, very, very common. So you're not alone. But I want to make sure that this does not become your life sentence, okay? Because this is something that, first of all, is for so many people, it's like a heaviness. It's like a darkness. It's like they're running, trying to achieve, trying more, only to find out that didn't fill the void. So what is it, right? And maybe you have been told or taught that you should achieve and you should strive and you should hustle and grind. And now you're looking at all of that and you're like, man, I've been doing that my whole life. But inside, maybe you feel like this constant, when is the other shoe gonna drop? Or, well, this is just the calm before the storm. And maybe you have been living your whole life like this. Or maybe it's this weird feeling of, no matter what, I don't feel good enough. So again, no matter how many compliments you receive, no matter how many people admire you and adore you and tell you how amazing you are and how they, look up to your intelligence or how smart your education, none of that makes you feel good enough. Maybe you've had several relationships, maybe you're in a relationship now, but somehow you just don't feel good enough. So they kind of all go hand in hand, right? And it could even be something like, I can't be lovable, like nobody loves me. Obviously, we're talking about what I call limiting beliefs, right? And limiting beliefs can literally destroy your life if you don't fix it. So here's what I want to share with you about this. Remember, this is the kind of work I do with my clients. And they often come to me sort of like as a last resort because they have identified the problem. They know that this is not how they want to live. They have tried to fix it in many different ways, including therapy, including self-help work, including self-development, classes, courses, coaches. They've watched the videos, the motivational rah-rah, right? David Goggins and Tony Robbins and all those, influences out there. And no matter what you watch, and no matter how much you try, no matter how hard you work, and again, no matter how many accomplishments, something is just always missing. Again, please know, you're not alone. This is extremely common. And then when these people come to me and we actually do the work that works, and yes, it is work. I'm going to be honest with you. It's not in this day and age, what I see a lot is what I call spiritual bypassing. That means, just hang out in the salt cave, just meditate for a bit, take a sound bath healing class, or, just talk to a counselor. And those things, of course, can be helpful and healing because sound music can be healing, right? Beethoven knew that, Mozart knew that. That's not enough. That's wonderful, and it's a great way to give yourself a break and even as a distraction. But the healing work or the transformational work that is required here is what Carl Jung states, and these are the shoulders I stand on. Until you make conscious what's in your unconscious, it will control your life. And then you will call it, it's my parents' fault, or it's my bad luck, or I will never amount to anything, or that's just how I am. No, that's not just how you are. You are not conscious of something that is in your unconscious that wants to communicate with you, that wants to be heard and seen. But until you are ready to wake up to it, until you're ready to put the spotlight on it, it will continue to literally run your life and ruin your life. And the way I translate what Carl Jung said is, so many people have childhood programming running their adult life. If I had to give you a rough estimate, easily 80% of people have this childhood programming running their life unbeknownst to them, and then they wonder why they keep hitting this money ceiling, why they keep attracting the wrong people yet again, right? People who are users, abusers. Oh my goodness, that's my timer for my black beans. Anyhow, this is gonna keep going. So childhood programming running your adult life, here's what that means. So the question actually isn't what's wrong with you. The question is, what happens to you? And if we go even deeper, which we should, we need to find out, and what impact did that have on you? What happened to you? So for example, that trauma when you were a child, as an example, okay, not everybody had childhood trauma, I get that, but this is an example. That childhood trauma, we could take that and say, yep, it's my parents' fault for the fact that I don't have a successful, abundant, good life, because they ruined me from the beginning. Now that could be an interpretation, and certainly, obviously, we got to blame somebody, but if we leave it at that conclusion, you will keep repeating the same drama in your life. So we need to look at what impact, how did that trauma impact you, or those experiences, or that moment, or those interactions, or those relationships. Once we look at, and once you get to understand that because of the trauma, you started to, as a child, develop and decide, and yes, I'm saying that consciously, you did it unconsciously, but you decided from the time you were a little child, I don't deserve to be happy. I am unlovable. My own parents can't even or won't even love me. There's something wrong with me. I am broken. You see? So we as children, we look at that painful experience and we immediately blame ourselves. It's my fault that my parents got divorced. You see? Which then deeper than that automatically means there's something wrong with me. Now, guess what? What do you think something like that might cause? If we don't fix this belief, if we don't change that belief, if we allow this person who was a small person is now a big person, and I don't even want to call them an adult yet, because they are still recreating that childhood pattern, so very often still acting like a child, blaming the past, which that's not adult archetype. Adult archetype is willing to look at the past, look at the beliefs, look at the deeply rooted issues that caused these problems. And an adult archetype is willing to handle it. And eventually what we want to do is we want to help you change the story, change the beliefs. Because remember, that is literally, we as children make decisions about. It's a decision, it's an opinion, it's a conclusion. And the question isn't even, is it true or not true? Right now, the question is, notice how this might impact you. If you firmly, deep down inside in your subconscious believe that you're not good enough, or that you will never amount to anything, or that you are unlovable, you know what that means? You will continue attract people that disrespect you, that are mean, that will not love you. They will only come when you happen to be a convenience. You see that? So therefore, we have gotten, you don't have to anything, but I would recommend, this is the work. Some people call it shadow work, whatever we want to call it. I mean, obviously I practice hypnotherapy with my clients, but this is the hypnotherapy that makes the difference, Because once you change this program, a program simply means there's an entanglement of beliefs, emotions, feelings, and perspective about how you see the world, how you see yourself. And if you don't change your perspective, you will keep repeating the same problems. But the minute you're willing to do this work, which requires somebody who's very competent, okay? I wouldn't just say like any hypnotherapist, because I'm not speaking directly about hypnotherapy per se. I'm speaking about my personal process that I share with my clients and practice with. This requires personal attention. This requires investigation. This requires you finally taking time out of your busy schedule, which I know is a luxury very few people allow themselves to have. I get that. But what's more important than your life and your happiness and your success and tapping into that unrealized potential? What could be more important than that? What would be a more worthwhile time investment than that? Getting to the core, to the root of what's actually really holding you back from your happiness. Because when you fix this, that's when your life starts to change. That's when, as if by magic, literally as if by magic, all of a sudden the right people show up, the right opportunities, the doors open. And I have not only experienced this in my life, but this is what I see with every single client. So, the moral of the story, there's nothing wrong with you. You don't need to be fixed. You're not broken. You literally are a walking, talking, breathing miracle and genius. But you are programmed. So until we get to the core of that program that is holding you back, it will continue to run your life and to ruin your life. And remember, this is not so easy to spot because it's in your subconscious. And that's why traditional, tactical, technical, typical talk therapy or any kind of coaching or motivational speeches or affirmations or meditations don't really work as powerfully as you want it, because they talk to the mind, which sounds reasonable, logical, good idea, except what about the part that controls the mind? That's the one we got to talk to. And that's the kind of work I do with my clients. And once you get to that level, everything will start making sense to you. And then you no longer have to waste your time with affirmations and meditations and like literally sitting like a Buddha, hoping that maybe the skies are going to open and somebody's going to come save you and a miracle is going to happen. That's not healing. That's not, that's wishful thinking. And there is a place for that, by the way, as well. There is a place for that. But once again, you've got to include the conscious and the subconscious and get these two in alignment. Because if the subconscious controls the conscious, 95% of your life is controlled by your subconscious. And if you are not willing to be curious enough to look at what's even in my subconscious, then you can't complain about, that you don't feel happy and fulfilled. That's kind of a healthy unhappy and unfulfilled. Does that make sense? Because that unhappy is trying to tell you something. You deserve to be happy. Literally, my wild guess is that your potential is like, I have no words, like literally like, I don't know, the ceiling, and you're here. You're here. And until, right, and you keep repeating the same. And this is why you're getting more and more miserable, more and more frustrated, exhausted, annoyed. That's a good annoyed. You should be annoyed. Because deep down inside, you know there's so much more available. Well, it's up to you. And this is not something I can do with you in a video. And as much as I want to be generous and I want to give you things that hopefully can be helpful, but this particular thing requires personal, intimate, qualified attention. And if and when you have the courage to do this, that's when your life is going to start to change. I'll see you next time.